All right, so let's kind of set the scene with the priority plans at the government. When we were chatting off stage, you said, Yousef, we're trying to make a break from what has happened. We're trying to learn the lessons. We're trying to look at accountability, transparency. Run me through sort of what is top of mind when it comes to this push into sustainability and learning from the oil curse of the past.
Thank you, Yousef. I will start to share with you a principle that for us is very important and could change the way not only Angola, but all African countries could change their future. The present is lent to us by the future generations. And that for us is something that we believe, we truly believe. And everything we are doing is not for us, it's for the next generations of Angolans that need better conditions of education, better conditions in terms of jobs, number of jobs, health. So to develop a sustainable approach to our economy, we have to identify not only the difficulties that you talk about in the past, but we have to focus in the future. And that's why diversification of our economy is so important. We have to move our oil dependencies to other sectors where we should invest a lot in agriculture, in the mineral industry, in industry in general, fishing, and transports, my sector, it's a facilitator sector for the others.
In terms of the push into sustainability, what about the private sector? I mean, that's something that you've kind of tried to reinvigorate, let's put it that way, in an enterprise of society and government where that kind of culture just isn't present. Yeah. How much progress have you been able to make, and sort of why are you so excited about the next 2 to 3 years?
We are very, very excited because we believe that we are doing and we are in the right direction. Our economy will grow a lot if we change the paradigm. The state must be focused in supervision, regulation, and doing this that we are here doing, sharing our vision and our perspective of sustainability. But the private sector should play a huge role in this process. And that's why we are, through concessions, through privatization of some public entities, we are attracting the private sector to share with us some of the risks and bring us knowledge, technology, and especially a long-term perspective of what we need to do to revigorate our economy.
Mm-hmm. I mean, why don't we get to some specific examples, just to kind of flesh out the point. The free zones, perhaps?
Yes, we have a new project that we call a New Generation Project, that is integrated terminal of Barra do Danda. It's a new project, a project that we believe in the next 30 years will help Angola to export products made in Angola. And we have to stop thinking short term. So we are attracting their different set of companies from industrial to energy and agriculture sectors and bring them together and try to create the first free zone in Angola where with these incentives we are promoting the new job creation, we are promoting knowledge, and we believe that in the next 5-6 years, we're going to have some results.
What about the Lubanga Corridor? I mean, this is a 2,000-kilometer stretch, seen as, being able to enable transportation of cargo, of passengers, and the numbers are quite astounding, and the ambition here is quite clear. How much progress have you been able to make in terms of selecting a winning bidder? How much capital is going to get channeled through that?
Okay, it's a good question, and we are in the middle of an international tender. We are talking about a corridor that at this moment it starts in Lubito and go to Luau. We are talking about 1,344 kilometers. And this is not a project only for Angola. We have to develop this project in a regional perspective. We want to involve Zambia and Democratic Republic of Congo, because this project is going to have a huge impact in the Copper Belt region. And we believe that the value proposition that we are putting in the table is interesting for everybody. And that for us is critical, because we are not thinking only internally as Angolans, but we are thinking as Africans. And integration is critical to ensure this evolution of our economy and trading.
What about FDI and sustainability? I mean, when you look at these two components for this project, I mean, how does it kind of scale up?
Yeah, we are talking about a concession of 15 years, because we are talking in a railway investment, and we need time to recover the investment. We estimate 400 million investment for the private sector, because the state already invested almost $3 billion to rehabilitate this line, with a NPV of $1.5 billion. And the FDI we expect to have, it's around $940 million too. So these are preliminary figures related to our feasibility study. This is just something that, discussing with the private sector, we're going to validate. And for us, it's a reference that there's value to capture, and that's our focus, to demonstrate that it's possible to involve the private sector with transparency, but with focus in value creation.
In terms of the bigger picture, what other projects would you say are going to be a priority that international investors can look forward to or start to consider as they look for new opportunities in a world that's starving for yield, but also for a little bit of safety? So having perhaps a reset and a new view with a bit of clarity can channel a lot of interest in your direction. If you could perhaps pick two projects that are at the top of that list, future projects.
Yeah, we have a lot of them. I'm going to highlight Porto Caio in Cabinda. And for us, that's a strategic project, because Cabinda is disconnected from the rest of the country and is in the middle of Congo. And it's a region that now is very focused in the oil industry. And this new port will enable the second free zone that we are foreseeing for Angola. And we believe with that we're going to leverage the industrial sector there too. Once more, because we have a lot of people that live around us, and we could export things that are transformed in Cabinda. The second project is in the south, in Namib. It's a rehabilitation of the port and the mineral terminal. We are talking about an investment of $600 million, sponsored by Toyota Corporation. So once more, we are attracting international companies that believe in Angola, and it's important for our mining sector too. And once more, the transport, and in this case the railway, is the backbone of this activity. And we are integrating the railway with the port activity. That's why we are rehabilitating the port, and we are integrated with the corridor of South Corridor of Angola. Mm-hmm. And this is going to connect not only in Zambia, but even Namibia with us. And we're going to improve trade, and especially we're going to increase the value added of our minerals, because different entities already manifest their interest to invest there.
Yeah. You speak about taking clear steps in terms of learning from the past and applying these principles of accountability and transparency. One elephant in the room, let me put it this way, is Luanda Airport, the $5 billion project, delayed several times, 10 years under construction. What's the latest update on that front? Have you been able to make progress to kind of get this done and dusted with?
It's a good question. I don't want to talk about the elephant. Now I'm going to share with you the cheetah that we are developing there, because it's going to be a reality. And next June, we're going to the first technical flight in this airport. And when we are talking about the airport, for us it's critical, because we want that Luanda become the hub, a strategic hub for Southern Africa development community. And we can connect to South America, to US, to China, and we have 400 million people living around us. So we believe that this project will have a huge impact, not only in our economy with tourism, but connecting other countries that are around us to increase the mobility and connectivity of Southern Africa with the rest of the world. Another thing that I want to share is that we are talking always about the airport, but we're going to create a specific city that's going to be around the airport. We are talking about 30,000 hectares of land where we're going to develop not only logistic platforms to support the airport activity, but all other kind of activities that are needed to create a new city, and this is a huge important project for the next 20 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What about the seizure of assets? Has that affected the ability of the Chinese builder to proceed? Has that affected how you would like to proceed with the project, or are you sticking with the Chinese builder for the airport?
We changed the builder. It's still the Chinese, but now it's a specialized entity. As you should understand, we are not focused on the problem, we are focused on the solution. So for us, we don't want to judge or stigmatize anyone. Everybody that wants to work with us, with these values, with long-term perspective, with quality, with transparency, is welcome. And that's something that for us is very important, and we want to share with the world, is that we are open to different investors. We are open to work with everybody that can bring value to our country.
What about the pipeline to Zambia? Where is the progress there, and how much of a meaningful impact is it going to have on sort of economic activity, as far as you can tell?
At this moment, the pipeline of projects with Zambia are more focused in connectivity, not really in the oil industry or other mineral activities, but specific in trade, because Zambia don't have any sea connection, and we believe that we could facilitate and should prepare the infrastructures needed to support them in terms of trade, not only to import, but to export Zambian products too. And it's very competitive, because today there's a dependence of Beira in Mozambique or Cape Town in South Africa. And with us, we are neighbors. So let's capture this value and use this value for the society.
Yeah. In many of the conversations I've had over the last 15 to 20 years, what keeps coming up at times when energy prices are higher is this concern. This is not Angola specific. This is, all oil exporting countries, that the newly created wealth, or the sort of the boost in wealth, is going to lead to a relaxation of reforms. It's kind of, okay, we can take it easy now. Money's good again. Oil prices are higher. So there tends to be actually historically a correlation, unfortunately. How are you seeing things in Angola within government, and how much of a concern is that for you that, now that the times are good again, at least, again, it depends on the day these days, right, with the volatility we have in oil prices. But if it stays above $100 a barrel, that's good news for Angola. Are you concerned that this is a disincentive to reform and some of the ambitions that you've outlined this morning?
I understand you very well. This is always a concern. But in our government, the head of the executive, and specifically in our ministry, we are very positive about the future. And there's no relaxation in the future because we are working according to a master plan. We know where we want to be in the next 20 years. So we have a lot to do. We need help. We need people. We need investment. And this money will be used to leverage our social needs. We need social cohesion. We still have to fight poverty. Yes, we are in a moment where this still is a challenge for our society, but I think we learned the lesson. And now, as I told you in the beginning, the present is led to us by the future generations. So it's our responsibility to create the right conditions for the future. And we have to use this money in a productive way, okay? We don't need to seem what we are not. We must have humbleness, and we have to work hard to achieve different results in the future.
Perhaps some closing thoughts on this push into sustainability and bringing your perspective. What is your message to global investors or to our global audience generally who's watching today who might be saying, okay, we've heard these blueprints before from other countries, free zones, privatization. What is Angola going to do differently, and how are they going to stand out that will really warrant investors to say, you know what, my investment is better off in Angola than it is in here or there?
Yes, it's a good question because we already change. We don't going to change. We already change. It's not our speech. It's the way. It's our mindset, and we are not trying to play something that is not real. So we need some proof of concepts. We have already attracted some international investors that believe in us, like DP World, Toyota, and I think this is the beginning of a wave that's going to be very strong, and we are going to have a lot of impact in our reality. So give us a chance to prove that we are able to deliver. And this is the right message for everybody. Believe in Angola, and you're going to have a good surprise.
Carlos, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much for sharing some of your ideas on the push into sustainability, bringing a government perspective, the title of this panel. A big thank you to Carlos Borges, the Secretary of State for Civil, Maritime and Port Aviation.
Thank you very much.